Rainbow policing is an obvious grift, and I thought we'd go through this with the story that has come up, which is the police force are expanding their pilot scheme to have more rainbow cars. The reason for this being that apparently if you have rainbow cars, all of the hate will just magically go away because people see the car and they're like, oh, damn, can't hate today. Just go home. So this is the story. Politics for All. Police are replacing patrol cars with hate crime cars to encourage people to report incidents.
Just call them clown cars. Because they are. And you're a clown when you sat in a car like that.
There's also the point of, what if socialists set fire to police cars like that, though? It's a hate crime then, isn't it?
Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is.
So the socialists in Birmingham better keep their heads down. Anyway, let's go to the next one on this. So the story in full is that the police pin hopes on rainbow cars to drive out hate crime.
What?
It's good to see that they're thinking in reality.
Oh, God, it's so stupid.
So police are replacing patrol cars with hate crime cards to encourage people to report incidents such as social media comments. Meme words. Meme words on Twitter. The British police are spending their time redoing their cars so that you would call in and be like, yeah, I saw meme words on Twitter.
Honestly, I just look at anyone who professes and follows this new faith to be mental.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a minute. Deputy Chief Constable Julia Cook said that the cars were painted over with police insignia and rainbow designs are now part of our vehicle fleet and will be given daily by officers on patrol. So
thanks, I hate it.
They're going to start replacing a large section of the cars in Britain to be.
I just hate it. So I mean, if you're going to obviously politicize things, that's wrong in and of itself. But to politicize it in a way that just makes you look like a goddamn fool is oh god.
I mean, the fact that our cops don't have guns because the populace don't really have guns, don't really, as I'm saying, then is weird enough. But already the fact that they look kind of goofy, but they're not
stupid. It's so. You can't respect this.
I'm not a fan of the like high vis uniforms they use currently.
No, I don't
the old constabulary uniforms that I saw in some like archival footage because I'm too young to remember it. Looks Chad.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
That was the point.
Anyway, however, critics have said that forces should instead focus on policing real issues. I don't know why they put real in quotes.
Oh, those bigoted critics.
Such as knife crime and rape, with the latest figures showing poor prosecution rates. I don't know if they got real in quotes, so that real issues like rape. I mean, who cares about that? Anyway.
Knife crime.
So we go to the next one. So this is the report that they're reporting on. 1 in 6 crimes not going to court as criminals, including sex offenders, get a let off.
Amazing.
The Ministry of Justice figures show that prosecutions fell 32% in the year ending in March as police chose to avoid court actions. So
incredible.
Increasingly, this is a pattern that the police are not taking these kind of crimes to court because, well, they're tough, ain't they? Whereas getting someone for saying mean words, easy peasy. No problem. Look, I've done so much work.
Don't even have to leave the chair I'm sat on.
So the police have responded to this criticism with this video on Instagram, which of course starts with rainbow cars coming in from all directions. I assume they're going to have to change like the noise as well the cars make.
Yeah, honk honk.
That's all I'm hearing in my
yeah,
head.
same.
Anyway, this lady in here decides to try and defend it, and she comes off as obviously insane.
Yeah.
So let's play the clip.
Rainbow cars, the hate crime cars, whatever we want to call them, they are part of our vehicle fleet, but they're out there as normal patrol vehicles. Sometimes people will ask us, how can you afford to do that? You know, that's not right to spend money on putting a rainbow on a car. Well, actually, the cost is quite minimal, but the confidence that it can bring by just having that rainbow on there. And people say to me, you know, the impact of seeing the rainbow is so huge. So it is there to try and give confidence to our LGBT plus community. I wear this all the time, so I'm an ally. I'm not part of the LGBT community, and I have some epaulets that have the trans flag on them. And, you know, I don't wear them all the time. I wear them for events that I'm involved in, but they are part of my uniform, and it is to show that inclusion, that supportive inclusion that we have in policing. And unless we have an organisation where all of our staff feel that they can feel included, that they are included, I don't think we can deliver the best service to our communities.
Demented cultists.
Yeah, I mean, just comes off as a demented cultist.
Yeah.
And rightfully, because she looks like one. Yes. I've never met her. I don't know what her job is or anything, but just, my God, look at it. I love how there was the contradictory claim in there that I don't need to wear these, but they're also part of my uniform, so you could wear them. So she's saying that all of the rainbows on her, she could wear for patrolling the streets. Not just the rainbow car itself, but also little things on the shoulders, the necklace she's got, the pin. And if we go to this one up,
but it's
I mean, you can just play spot the rainbows with this footage. Like, look how much virtue signaling is going on there.
It's so expressly political as well.
So for people listening, she has a flag behind her that's a traditional rainbow flag, should we say?
The Conservative pride flag. Yeah.
And then on both of her shoulders, she has those, I don't know what you call them, cuffs or whatever.
Epaulets or something.
Anyway, so then she has little flags on them as well. And then she's wearing a lanyard that has a flag. And then there's two little symbols in there that I didn't highlight. And then she's also wearing a pin on her tie, which is another rainbow flag. I mean, it is ridiculous levels of absurd. And then she's going to go out in her rainbow car.
I mean, is she just going to put the face makeup on and just complete the set, right?
Just rainbow face makeup.
Red nose, be done with it. You know, just embrace your future, love.
This is the police. I mean,
it's embarrassing.
I kind of think, I mean, it's almost enough to make you think, you know what, the Taliban are probably right. I mean, that's the thing on my mind. Imagine trying to integrate British Muslims into Western society.
I'm all for it if this is the alternative.
This is what Western policing looks like. They'll be like, I'm not so keen on this. I mean, I'm not keen on this as a liberal. I mean, never
Break
mind
out
someone
the burqas, as far as I'm concerned.
who's a old style conservative, shall we say? But yeah, you can play spot the rainbows with that. There's also the thing that she said it was minimal cost.
Yeah, sure.
Minimal cost my ass.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next one here. You can see just this was the pilot scheme 3 years ago. And what was it? Sussex Police had done this.
Yeah.
I know Kent Police down where I was, they've also had one car on this. And they were like, hey, good morning. How much does this cost? I thought the police were under great financial strain due to budget cuts. Remember the police endlessly complaining about budget cuts?
Yeah.
Sussex Police, it cost £750 to decorate 2 cars, mainly paid for from the diversity budget.
Why is there a diversity budget?
What is a diversity budget? What even is that? Like, what do you mean, diversity budget? To be spent on what?
Could this not just be cut instantly and my taxes lowered?
Yeah, £750. I mean, what is that? Roughly about $1,000, something like that for 2 cars.
Yeah.
So, it's not nothing,
And they're going to have dozens of cars.
and that's just for Sussex Police to do 2 cars. Not to mention they now want to run this out across the entire country.
No.
I mean, stacks of cash just being burnt from the diversity budget.
Dear Conservative Party, I realise that you're in your ivory tower and you don't care about the concerns of us plebs, but we are really hating what the police of this country are doing. You are the ones in charge. Please could you do something about it? Put that in a letter, send it to your local MP. Not even joking. Put it in an email, send it to your local MP. Do something. Don't just sit there and let them piss away your money up the wall on the rainbow religion of peace, diversity, and tolerance. You know, do something. You are allowed. They are your representatives. It's your money they're wasting on this religious political activism. Do something. You are allowed to do something. Put a letter in and do something. I mean it.
Embarrassingly sickening how just frivolous they are with your cash.
I can't stand it.
But anyway, talking about hate crimes, there's been a recent hate crime that caught the headlines. Thought we'd just take a look at this one. So, police hunt for 3 men over vile homophobic attack on married couples.
Oh, look, let me guess their names. Aled Jones, John Smith, and Kevin McDougall.
Yeah, probably Celtic and English. And so this is the idea of these rainbow cars being rolled out to protect, let's say,
To
homosexuals.
protect them from the diversity.
So the
Right, okay.
people will be calling up because they've seen a rainbow car. What will they be calling up about? Apparently they'll be calling up about Sahil Khan, 24, Mohsin Mahmood, 31, and also Isaac Aizadhava, 21. Very British names.
Yep.
Apparently they were in Birmingham's gay village on Sunday.
Wow, why?
Don't know what they were out for, but yeah, apparently they ended up attacking a married couple, 2 men, and I've seen the photos and it looks pretty bad.
Yeah, it does look bad.
Beat the
Yeah,
crap
I've
out
seen
of them,
it.
which is awful. Yeah, I don't think they're going to take notice of the rainbow car.
To be honest with you, I'm actually changing my position on this. We are a clown country. We deserve a clown police force.
You know, I'm down with that. Just like changing the national anthem to
Change the flag to the pride flag, the conservative one, obviously.
Yeah.
And the national anthem to clown anthem.
You know,
and
I went to, I think it was Exmouth a while back, and we went to some fair, and there is a new version of the British flag, but it's been done in rainbow. I'll have to show you it, and it looks so funny. Like, it really does look like the clown thing you're looking for. Anyway, so there's also another hate crime that was very recent and made a lot of splash. So this is Douglas Murray talking about it. So the BBC reported on man 64 injured in alleged anti-Semitic attack. And Douglas Murray points out, while the BBC's story about this recent anti-Semitic attack in London mentions that the victim was wearing Orthodox Jewish dress, doesn't mention the attacker appears to be wearing an Orthodox attire of another religion.
Well, there isn't another religion that hates Jews and has it baked into, I don't know, the end times of their religion.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a religion that suggests that for the final day to come, the rocks and the trees will cry out against the Jews so the followers of this religion can murder them in the streets.
I think the direct quote is, the rocks and the trees will cry out, "Oh, Muslim, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him."
No, that's Islamophobic.
That's,
you don't understand Islam, Callum.
Yeah, it's an Islamic...
You're not an Islamic scholar, are you, Callum? You don't know anything about this. Shut up, Callum.
Let's go to the story, the BBC story, which Douglas mentions. And in case you're wondering how they described it as footage shared by a group on social media shows a man in Orthodox Jewish dress being punched by another man.
Just another man.
Just another man.
No details.
Could be any man. I don't know. Could be Buddhist. Anyway, so let's move on from this. So if you look at the hate crime stats, of course, there is actually something fishy going on.
Of course there is.
Surrounding the fact that the police are obsessed with cracking down on hate crimes from a diversity perspective, except that the data doesn't help them in this regard. I mean, as Ella Hill pointed out when we had her down, she did this research for us. I mean, thank you very much to Ella. She pointed out that in the statistics themselves, if you look at the weightings, about 0.1% of the white population and Muslim population suffer hate crimes. So you have equal chance of suffering a hate crime if you're a Muslim or white, which is interesting.
Yeah,
and also,
especially given the percent, like the sheer numbers difference.
yeah, and also Jewish people are the most likely to be attacked. 0.5% of Jews every year suffer hate crimes.
So and so, right? Okay, that's concerning.
So you think they'd be changing all their cars to like Stars of David or something?
Which
But,
would really annoy the Labour Party.
But they're not going to do that, are they? So, because this is largely manufactured, this version of events. So, if we go to Spiked, there's a great article this guy wrote in which he points out when you look at the data, it gets even more stark of prosecutions. The Rainbow Car campaign rests on the assumption that too many hate crimes go unreported. The police seem to be convinced themselves that there is a hidden epidemic of hate crimes, and so they have devoted a huge amount of effort and resources to raising awareness of these crimes to encourage more reporting. According to the Home Office, increases in police recorded hate crimes in recent years has been driven by improvements in crime recording and better identification of what constitutes a hate crime. In contrast, measures such as hate crime that are unaffected by these changes in policing or recording methods, such as a crime survey for England and Wales, show a long-term decline in hate crime. So the increases that the police keep trotting out to justify this, the increases, the Home Office says themselves, come from the changes in which these ways are reported and recorded.
So I imagine they're probably expanding the definitions and things like this.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
more
how many
things count as hate crimes.
There are more genders this week, so there are more hate crimes, that kind of situation. So between March 2008 to 2009 to March 2019 to 2020, the number of hate crimes actually fell by an extraordinary 38%.
Right.
Hate crimes by decade.
Supply is not meeting demand.
There are not enough Nazis to meet the demand for Nazis.
Well, hang on a second. No, it doesn't have to just be Nazis, does it?
Of course it doesn't.
Yeah, but anyway.
Could also be Talibani. Anyway. So much of the explosion in police recorded hate crime can be traced back to the guidance produced by the College of Policing in 2014. The hate crime operational guidance makes clear that hate crime is an entirely subjective category. The defining factor in whether someone is measured as a hate crime, it says, is the perception of the victim or any other person.
Can I report these clown cars as a form of hate crime?
You certainly can, my friend. Because it doesn't have to even be anyone involved in anything. It could just be some guy who's walking past who perceives what's going on to be a hate crime.
Again, you are free to report anything that you feel to be a hate crime because it's literally just based on your perception. Feel free to do that.
I feel like something the police like video comment style, like reports, but in the background of every video just have clown music playing. So the guidance also says that targets that see successes as reducing hate crime are not appropriate. Reducing hate crime is not appropriate.
Well, I mean, if you get rid of hate crime, you get rid of the justification for the clown cars.
Yep, that's it. I mean, that's the
literally
key
it,
thing.
isn't it? Yeah.
They don't want you reducing the hate crime because then their clown car world goes down in flames.
I love it. It says, do a hate crime. Do a hate crime.
That's the College of Policing. On the contrary, police officers are supposed to measure their success by increasing the opportunity for victims to report. That's the quote. So this is obvious nonsense.
I feel like I'm the victim of a hate crime.
If you look at the convictions, which is the next bit, there are also a large discrepancy between the rising number of police recorded hate crimes and the falling number of hate crimes that are successfully prosecuted. Despite the fact that the Crown Prosecution Service has put a great deal of focus on hate crime prosecutions peaked in 2015, 15,000, and have fallen to about 10,000 in 2020. So the prosecution's getting worse and worse because people keep reporting more and more nonsense that can't go to court because it's obvious nonsense. And Harry Miller made some very good points on this on GB News. So if we go to the next one, this is just the GB News segment. I've cut a little bit from this because Harry Miller did a great job. So let's play the clip from Harry Miller.
Well, for those of us who know, those of us who understand, it is covered in political colours. There he says, Surrey Pride. Pride is a political movement. We all know it's a political movement. Pride say that they're a political movement. And unfortunately, the police, well, I used to think that they were just too dumb to see it, but now I don't think that anymore. Now
but
I think they're fully bought up. They're fully bought up into the political aspect of this. This is not about hate. This is not about crime. This is about marginalizing people with a wrong opinion. If they really believe this, they would put, I don't know, Black Lives Matter down the side of their police cars. But of course, they're not going to do that because we all know that it's political. If they cared about women, they would put a woman, adult, human, female down the side of their cars. But they won't because they know that that's political. Now, that's the politics that they disagree with. But this is politics that they do agree with. And so they take a very marginal number of crimes, LGBT crimes, and they inflate it out of all proportion. North Yorkshire Police have had on their website a statistic, which is an out-and-out lie. It says 1 in 12 trans people are murdered. That's absolute nonsense. One trans person has been murdered, I think, in the last 9 years in the UK. It's a simple lie. Even on Somerset Police have a statistic that says, 14% of us personally know a trans person who has been murdered. Again, a complete and utter lie. Unless they all know the one person who was murdered.
But he makes the point there. Unless we all knew that one person who died 9 years ago, this doesn't make any sense.
But why does she look so upset by him just saying facts?
I don't know. She was acting a bit weird in this, but whatever. Anyway, but Harry Miller making some great points there. For people who don't know him, he is a victim of LGBT ideology because he is a man who was visited for liking a limerick that the police decided was transphobic. So they knocked on his door. Good afternoon, sir. We're here to check your thinking. Check your thinking. That's what they said to him. Anyway, but it also leads to such nonsenses as this. So you see the Independent. Jailed Minnesota mosque bomber says gender dysphoria drove her to attack. Of course, please respect the pronouns of the terrorist because we couldn't dare upset the terrorist here.
So they bombed a mosque because they had gender dysphoria.
Which is obvious lie, I would think. But also, I just can't get over the Independent being like, yes, this mosque bomber, well, I will respect her pronouns.
I bombed the mosque because people misgender me. Sure.
Maybe the mosque misgendered him.
Sure, why not? Let's go with it. Let's go with it. Now we're an Islamic state now, so put your burqa on.
So if you're wondering how our let's say leaders, elitists, can be so dense about all of this, I thought we'd get a great example of them talking about incels.
Yes.
So remember when there was a guy who was an incel who shot some people in the UK a couple of weeks ago, whatever it was, and they invited an incel expert on ITV to educate the elites.
This is Laura. Oh, what's her name?
I can't remember. But
No. She's behind. No, she's behind the everyday sexism movement.
Oh, really?
So yes, she's a radical feminist and has been for many years, and is clearly looking for relevance.
So let's play the clip.
Can parents look out for maybe language that they use, their young sons might be using,
telltale
or
signs,
behaviour that they might have?
Yes, they can. So there are lots of bits of language that might be red flags referring to people as normies or as triggered. Normies is the word incels use for people outside their community. Triggered, based, cucked, describing being red-pilled or black-pilled, which are words they use to describe being infiltrated into the ideology. And it's worth saying as well that they see this as a kind of conduit to other forms of extremism. It isn't completely separate from far-right, white nationalist, white supremacist movements. They actually really see it as a slipway. So parents might see a combination of perhaps also racism creeping in as well. The incel community is a very racist community. This is a racist ideology. And of course, white supremacist is a deeply misogynistic ideology.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Look at the parrots. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But does she think there are people at home going, "Oh yeah, this makes perfect sense"?
Those people in the audience, the
racist incels, the misogynist white supremacist, and the based red pillars are all getting together in order to funnel the normies into the pipeline.
I mean, it's a level of ignorance, if it was ignorance, that is impossible to achieve.
The internet is white nationalism, says this woman.
All of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I declare her to be cringe. Don't know whether that's a dog whistle or not.
Yes, it is. So if you want to get into how the elites are so dumb, I'd recommend the book club we did on the Long March through the institutions, in which Mark Sidwell goes into the fact that essentially the wrong ideas met the wrong elite at the wrong time, and now they have no way out of it because there is no feedback loop to them about their failures, such as wasting money on rainbow police cars or deciding that the internet is white supremacy. But anyway, let's move on from this. So what I think all of this really does is keeps us away from real problems, such as people breaking over our border. So this is Nigel Farage reporting that we have a new target.
New record.
Yeah, new
Wow.
record. The number of people who have just turned up on British shores as if it's reverse D-Day or something.
Yeah, and this is every day. So it was that the previous record was 592 people arriving illegally, invading. Just
I mean, you can see the footage. I mean, this one, they're just turning up to someone's beach.
yeah, but now it's 800. And what was it? 828. Wow, that's
828.
good.
So, I mean, the kind of thing that sort of disintegrates trust in the state to protect us on any level. I mean, even on the basic things that everyone can agree on, except the anarchists about the state, which is the Night Watchman, keeps the minimal parts of the government, which is to keep us safe from invaders.
The classically liberal view of the state. Yes.
Yeah, can't even do that. It also invites murder and rape and crime to our shores, as we have seen from the situation of people coming over and then engaging in stabbings in Glasgow or getting involved in rapes, as in Ramsgate, and so on and so forth.
But there are incels on the internet using the word normie.
Yeah,
Have
but
you
these people
considered that?
also have no right to be here.
No.
And we
They've
know
broken
that.
laws. They're breaking the law right now.
Not only do they have no right, they have no reason to be here other than they have failed their asylum application in France.
Yes.
If they hadn't failed it, they'd be in France.
Yes.
If they have failed it, they're not a real asylum seeker, so are taking a chance with Britain.
And should
So
be sent home.
there's also the question of why do the native French homeless not do this? Because they know they're not going to get cash.
Yeah, good point.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought we'd just go on to one of the morons who's responsible for this kind of thing. So this is a guy from Refugee Action who went on here to argue that we should have open borders because that is always their end goal. Let's play this final clip.
All the evidence points towards the fact that the tougher we get on our borders, the more opportunities we create for smugglers to make more money out of vulnerable, marginalised people who are trying to make
Then we
these
arrest
journeys.
them.
Remember that
That's an
there are-
argument. That's an argument for open borders.
Yeah. But there are no safe
Sweet
routes.
on.
Remember, the people we're talking about are fleeing human rights abuses, persecution,
in
violence
France.
in other countries. The situation we've seen in Afghanistan right now, we're watching
It's
in
taking
real
place in
time how
France.
people become refugees, the chaos, the terror,
got
the
really
fear.
based.
And this situation is playing out around the world. It might not be playing out on the world's media, but the people arriving
Oh,
in
yeah,
this
the media would
country
never
are
cover
fleeing
this.
very similar situations of persecution and human rights abuses. And they're fleeing those situations without any possible routes to safety. And so the people making these trips in the boats don't have any other choices.
No, they do have other choices. They can stay in France.
Yeah, but the point is overall...
There's no point in saying yes, but you can't sit there and say that they have no other options because they do.
But this is a
Legal
global
options.
refugee crisis. We know, for example, there are 3 million Afghans alone over
And then he just carries on, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah. So I cut it because it was
Yeah.
pointless. But you see him, Ian Dale making a sensible case there,
A very sensible point.
which is that, well, they have other options. They can stay in France. And he goes, yeah, well, and then just moves on.
But I want them here.
And then he says, well, no, come on, you can't sit there and say they have no other options when they do. And he says, yes, but this is a worldwide crisis. There is no defense. They've got nothing. There are no human rights abuses in France taking place, as from what we've seen from Macron's
At least against the
treatment so far.
migrants, anyway.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought then that the rainbow policing is obviously just a grift for them to make money. The statistics don't lay it out. The reality on the ground doesn't lay it out. And they don't care. Thank you for watching this clip from the podcast The Lotus Eaters. If you want more from us, please go over to lotuseaters.com and subscribe to get access to all the premium content that we have on the site.
Yeah, we've got loads of really good stuff there. So we've been doing this for quite some time. So we've got a huge library of content in various different categories. Now, some of my favorites have been the book clubs. I'm personally a big fan of these because it means we get to read good books and important books, extract the useful information out of them, such as with this Roger Scruton's Where We Are, which is a very interesting conservative take on the current culture wars in the state of Britain at the moment. So we go through and explore the meaningful concepts. And here's one that you and Bo did with Frank Dicotta's Mao's Great Famine. It's absolutely brilliant and harrowing to read. And so when all the comments on this were happened to be, well, this was vile, we knew we'd done a good job with it. And we also have many other premium series like the Contemplations, where Hugo and Josh just go through and find something very interesting to talk about, such as this one talks about the idea of political representation and does it work, or is it a bit of a myth? And of course, we have the history content, which probably my personal favourite. In this particular one, myself and Bo talked about the achievements of Frankish warlord Charles Martel. Do you know what he's famous for, Callum?
Stopping the Muslims at Tours.
That's right. And we also do a bunch of premium videos and interviews and things like this. So in this one, we happen to have an interview with Michael Malice, who's a very, very charming guest, and I very much enjoyed this one. And we also do a bunch of premium podcasts about stuff that perhaps isn't appropriate for YouTube or various other platforms like that because of, some things outside of their editorial bounds.
So if you'd like to get access to all that premium content, please go over to lotusears.com and subscribe for as low as £5 a month. Thank you.